two functions fx and gx as graph shown here. The red one is f of x and the blue one is g of x. And if you define p of x as the product, q of x as the ratio of f over g, question is compute p prime of 2 and q prime of -4. If you see this question for the first time, you will be greatly puzzled what this means. But what you need to do is just take step by step and think about what rules you can use. So first, p prime of 2. Let's think about this. P prime of 2, well, p is this. So let's think about what p prime is. What is p prime of x? Well, to get that, you would need to differentiate this. And because this is a product, you will have to use the product rule. Okay, and then now you think about what p prime of 2 is. See, solving math questions sometimes requires breaking up the steps. So if you try to find p prime of 2 at once, you'll be greatly puzzled. But if you ask this question in 2 steps, first question is what is the derivative? And the second question is what is the derivative evaluated at 2? Then suddenly it becomes something manageable, right? So x is now replaced by 2, f prime of 2, g of 2. All the x's are now replaced by 2. You learn math partly because you want to have problem-solving skills, and one of the great tools in problem solving is to break up a big question into a sequence of smaller questions. Alright, so now we have to figure out what f prime of 2 is, what g of 2 is, and what f of 2 is, and what g prime of 2 is. Okay, so we're still not done yet. We still need to figure out what f prime of 2 is. So let's look at here. This is 2, and this is the red. So f prime of 2, remember, what's the meaning of f prime? F prime has the meaning of the slope. So what is the slope of this line right here? The slope has the value of f prime. Well, we learned that slope is rise over 1, so let's just pick 2 points and figure out the slope. Now, lucky for us, the graph is a straight line, therefore the slope of the tangent line is the line itself, right? Since we're only interested in the slope right here, we just have to pick another point on the same line and just figure out the slope from here to there. Now going from here to there, you go down 2 and you go right 1, right? So the rise is -2, so f prime of 2 is change of y over change of x, and the change of y is you go down 2 and you run 1. So f prime of 2 is -2. Now, what is f of 2? We have to figure that out too, right? F of 2 is what? At 2, the function has the height of 1, so that's the value of f of 2. So f of 2 is 1. Now we have to do the same thing for g, so let's think about g of 2 right here. I guess the easier one is g of 2, because g of 2, at 2, g has the height of 3, so g of 2 is 3. And g prime of 2 would be, you have to pick 2 points to get a slope. So let's pick these 2 points. From here to there, you go rise 2 and run 1. So change of y over change of x will be 2 over 1. So in this case, g prime of 2 will be +2. And then since we have all the values, now we just have to put them together. P prime of 2 is f prime of 2, which is -2, times g of 2, which is 3, plus f of 2, which is 1, times g prime of 2, which is 2. So that's equals to negative 6 plus 2, which is equal to negative 4. Alright, so by breaking up this puzzling question into several steps, we're able to manage it. Let's do the q prime of negative 4. It's basically the same thing. This time q is a fraction, so when you differentiate you would require the quotient rule, f prime of x, g of x, minus f of x, g prime of x, over g of x squared. And therefore, to figure out g prime of negative 4, you would need to evaluate f prime of negative 4, g of negative 4, minus f of negative 4, g prime of negative 4, over g of x squared, g of negative 4 squared. Okay, so now we go to negative 4, and we'll try to answer all these questions. What is f at negative 4? Well, it's like halfway between 0 and 1, right? So it should be 1/2. And then f prime of negative 4 is this slope. Well, this slope is same thing as these two slopes, right? This is straight line, so we just have to figure out this slope. Rise is 1, run is 2. So change of y over change of x would be 1 over 2. How about g of negative 4? G of negative 4 is negative 2. So right here it's negative 2. G prime of negative 4, well, we'll pick these 2 points. That's a straight line, so we just have to figure out the slope. You go down 1 and you run 3. So change of y over change of x is down 1, run 3. So it's negative 1/3. Okay, so we have all these values. Now we can plug them in here and get f prime of negative 4 is 1/2. G of negative 4 is negative 1/3. Minus f of negative 4 is 1/2. And then g prime of negative 4 is negative 1/3. Oh, sorry. G of negative 4 is negative 2, right? So it's this, negative 1/3. And it looks good. And then g of negative 4 is negative 2, so we square that. That's positive 4. 2 cancels, that's negative 1. Negative times negative is plus. 2 times 3 is 6, so it's 1/6 divided by 4. And my favorite way to simplify complex fractions is to multiply the denominator top and bottom. So you get negative 6 plus 1 over 24, which is negative 5 over 24. Alright, so that is the answer.